All right, good evening. We are ready to rock and roll. I like to start on time and I will do my best to end on time. This is a lot of information I have packed for you guys tonight. So, don't feel rushed. Don't feel nervous if you feel like you missed something. We're recording. So, probably by tomorrow morning, you will automatically be sent tonight's recording. And so it'll be an opportunity for you to just go back and re-listen if you missed something. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the information we're going to share with you tonight, because it is going to be something different. As you can see, everything at the Wellness Way is about thinking differently. And that's what we're going to do tonight when it comes to weight loss. So the weight loss journey, which is exactly what it is. Tonight, I want to really encourage you to not get so stuck on what am I doing wrong and I can't lose weight. I want to focus and shift that to how can I get healthier? What are the roadblocks that might be preventing me from really getting to an ideal weight for a person that's actually functioning the right way? Because when you look at the Wellness Way approach, you look at a lot of the analogies we talk about, we spend a lot of time about teaching the body never makes a mistake. It's always going to adapt to the environment that we present to it. So if it never makes a mistake, one would have to wonder, well, if a body is functioning normal, why would it ever get overweight or underweight? So it's not just about weight loss so much tonight. It's not just about particular weight gain, but all of these principles that we're going to discuss tonight are actually going to have an impact on almost every condition. Not because we treat those things, but when you remove the roadblocks to normal function, guess what? The body moves in a direction of restoration and rebuilding. And as a result of that, an infertile person can now become fertile. A female that may be struggling with PCOS may now start to have normal periods. Or a man that may have prostate issues may have a normal functioning prostate. Whatever the condition may be, that's only a window into what's going on to their body and how it's steered away from normal. And tonight we're going to really hit on some myths. We're going to discuss a lot of the things that we've kind of been brought up to think about weight loss. And most of us have this expectation right here when it comes to weight loss. Lose it fast and then effortlessly keep it off for the rest of our life. Am I right? I know we got some people online, we got some in-house here tonight. I think you guys would all agree that, right? That we're going to lose it fast and then we can effortlessly keep it off the rest of our life. That would be nice if that was the way it really was. But the perception really, it's more like this, right? There's this long, slow process. And even research is kind of showing that those who lose weight more successfully are the ones that kind of do it, low and slow. And so, yeah, the less weight over time tends to be ones that stay off the most. But even this can be a misperception, because who here has set a goal before and said, you know what, I'm going to lose 26 pounds this year. What is that? Roughly a half a pound per week, right? That doesn't seem that difficult. Doesn't seem that hard to only lose a half a pound a week for 52 weeks straight. And then to maintain that. That's not really reality, is it? This is really what's going on. Up and down, up and down, up and down. You could even lose 26 pounds over the course of the year, but maybe not the way you necessarily were hoping. You may lose 2, then gain 3. Then you may lose 4, gain 2. See what I'm saying? So the reality is being healthy and being normal when it comes to health and function, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. Doing what we do every day on a regular basis here is a challenge. Trust me, Dr. James, Dr. Jesse, all of our staff, myself, our families, like we are in the trenches with you guys. So it's not anything that we're just trying to say, hey, you need to do this, and we don't. I can tell you personally, it's been a battle for almost 4 years working back to restoring myself to better health. Trust me, it's difficult to look this good at 60, right? Not true, I'm not 60, but I think the point being is I'm coming up on 47. You can still look very young, when you start to apply these principles. Because tonight I'm going to show you how if you don't understand some of the physiology and you don't test appropriately, a lot of the ways we've been taught to eat and nourish our bodies completely accelerate the aging process. Who here has made a goal weight before? To lose weight or even to gain weight? All right. Who here has multiple books about weight loss, signed up on those late night things, trinkets, gadgets, wraps, thigh masters, even the old time wraps where they would make you jiggle really fast and you'd lose weight? Like, we've all tried that stuff. All right. Some of us more than others, but I'm going to tell you, this is the enemy right here. Number one, get rid of your scales, you guys. I know when Dr. Jason does his seminar with this, they have a big smashing party on their scales. They take the sledgehammers to them because this will completely throw you under the bus when it comes to really trying to get healthy. Again, I've told you tonight, I'm going to try to get you to shift away from thinking about how can I lose weight versus how can I move myself closer to more normal function and restoration. So do me a favor, as we're on tonight, I might be waiting for one of my slides to load, we'll see. Love technology, but just humor me on this, all right? Because I'm gonna do it with you. So I want you guys to close your eyes. And for those of you, who kind of really struggle with just an image of what your ideal weight is, I want you to be honest with yourself and just pretend that you're in your bathroom, you're looking in the mirror and you're naked. Now, at first you might kind of cringe, but I really want you to think about this and go with me on this. What does that ideal body of yours look like? Where do you find fulfillment in what that body looks like? What is your face? What does your hair look like? Even your nails and your skin, your shoulders, your biceps, triceps, your booty, your calves. All right, see it all. Don't just do this willy-nilly. I really want you to visualize maybe what that ideal body looks like for you. Everybody have it? All right, now stay with me. Keep your eyes closed. Now what I want you to do is you see your scale to the right. And I want you to go over there now with your ideal body and step on that scale. And you look down and you see that you're 2 to 3 pounds heavier than you were the day before. Now open your eyes. What did that just do to that visualization process there? Who felt stressed just when I said go to the scale? Who wanted to throw in the towel when you saw that there was 2 or 3 pound weight gain? See, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is enemy number one. Number two is sometimes going to be this. So there's not only a transformation and restoration of health that we're trying, but there's definitely some mental things that have to take place in this shift in how we think differently about weight loss and health. So I want to challenge you guys, throw that scale out, because weight can really throw you guys for a loop. And here's why. Come on, picture. There we go. All right, here we have 5 different women. All right, don't count the one on the right yet. All the ones in white, all 150 pounds. Isn't that interesting? 5 different women, 5 different sizes, 5 different heights, all the same weight. You guys follow me so far? So here's why we can't get stuck so much on weight. And they throw around the BMI, like that is the gold standard for what healthy weight should be. They use it, unfortunately, for a lot of insurance things. So obviously they're taking height and weight into consideration in this. So if we're just looking in those parameters, who would most likely be the healthiest person in this picture? Yep, I bet some of you online guessed it. The lady over here on your right. Why? Because she's tall. So Doc, wait a second. You're telling me that just because you're tall, you're going to be healthy. I think you guys know better than that. Just because you're tall and you fit the BMI parameters as a healthy weight does not mean that you are producing normal function. Trust me, Dr. James and I and Dr. Jesse, we've looked into physiological measurements to people that look healthy I was one of them almost 4 years ago that looked healthy, but inside, when they read the numbers and looked at things, I wasn't at my best. I was not functional at my best. And so we have to take all those things into consideration as what's best for you and your body. Now, if you guys can see online and here with us in the audience, you see a young lady that looks pretty ripped, right? Six pack. So who would say she's healthy? Who would say she's sick? I would say, you show me a female with a six pack and biceps like that, and I will typically show you a sick female. Because they're not made to be like that. Women typically are not designed to have six packs. Ladies, you're meant to have curves. Guys are supposed to have six packs and muscles and things like that. That's the difference between our testosterone and your testosterone. So that's why we can't just base how we look and determine whether somebody's healthy or not. All right, who here has been on a diet? All right, I'm sure everyone online has done this. You guys here, diets suck. I'm not gonna lie, they're terrible. At the Wellness Way, we don't promote any diet. What we promote is something that's gonna make you function in the way that you can be moving towards restoration. And it's not that none of these have good benefits. I mean, you guys online and here with us, what are some factors that really all kind of bring these together? Why do people see good results, for the most part, when they go on a diet? What do you guys think? You know, if you're online, go ahead and put some chats in there. I don't mind if Dr. James kind of gives me some feedback on there. But any diet is going to do what, you guys? It's going to help you eliminate crap. You guys are going to get rid of a lot of the sugars, a lot of the carbs, you know, some of those even unhealthy fats. So that's the key ingredient that most of these all share, is they're helping you get rid of a lot of junk. And so certainly in the beginning of most diets, that's where people see the most success. They start losing the weight because they've just eliminated a lot of toxic junk from their bodies. Now, I don't know if you guys can see on here, but we've got the keto, the paleo, the zone, Whole30, Atkins, Mediterranean, blood type, Jenny Craig, and Weight Watchers. And I'm sure, trust me, there's more. But of all those ones up there, which two do you think have been the most successful over time when it comes to just sheer weight loss? And ladies, probably some guys too, but I bet the ladies guessed it. Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers have been really the most successful. You want to know why? Purely accountability and checking in on a regular basis. Now, I don't know if they do this much anymore, but I think they used to have a lot of weigh-ins on a regular basis. So there was a level of accountability that kept them in the game. And so I'm for that, but I'm not for finding a diet and just blanketly throwing it to everybody, because they never take anything into consideration as far as what's best for you. All right. We can pretty much boil this down to two kinds of people. All right. We've got the skinny ones. All right. And these are the ones that, ladies, I know probably in the back of your mind, you're thinking all those bad names that you won't repeat out loud, that you can't believe. They eat pizza, they eat the donuts, all the stuff they shouldn't be, and they're skinny as a rail, right? And then we've got the ones who just sniff a donut or stand by a burrito or whatever it is, and they gain 5 pounds. All right. Well, what I want to know is which one of these people are healthy. Is this person healthy just because they're skinny? Or is this person healthy because they avoid all that, but they still gain weight? See, we're asking the wrong questions and we're taking the wrong perspective, engaging what's healthy and what's not. Now, I'm going to give you just a little bit of this guy's story. Not a whole lot. I got another story I want to share with you, but for any of you who follow the Wellness Way, this is Dr. Jason Nobles up in Green Bay. He's been in practice about as long as I have, 20 years. And the guy on the left that you see, yes, that is the same guy, literally drank a liter of Dr. Pepper in the morning shift and a liter of Dr. Pepper in the afternoon shift, all while adjusting and telling people how to be healthy. would then later go to the bar, have a few beers, have a pizza, and then go home and repeat. Now, his childhood was laced with Kit Kats and candy bars and sugar cubes and all kinds of junk. Was a very sick young man. And literally in chiropractic practice, he ate and drank himself into type 1A diabetes. And then eventually became a little bit type 2. And long story short, fast forward, you see the young man on the right, changed it all. He never became to where he had to have insulin. He changed it all because of his lifestyle. Was his focus losing weight? In the beginning, it sure was. And he made some decent changes. Started eating bananas, eating oatmeal, right? That's all healthy stuff that we were told. But it just was up and down. But until he got the health scare and really knew that his pancreas was pooping out and that the weight was getting more and more and more. And yet he's here telling people how to be healthy. So he changed it over the course of time. And I've watched him over the last 4 years massively restore his body. But it did come with a price. There was some permanent damage that was there. But still, youth on his side, things have been able to turn around. But this story to me is a little more close to home because this is a client of ours that we've worked with for some time. Harry has been a client in our office since almost I opened my doors 20 years ago. And at that time, we only offered adjusting as a part of our care. And over time, I watched Harry put on a little more weight, ended up having a back surgery, was a very hard worker, construction guy, loved to garden, loved to grow his pecan trees. And as I began to kind of transform in practice and life and wanting to offer more for patients, we found the wellness way to begin to implement these principles into the practice. And Harry began to ask questions because his weight was continuing to go up. His blood pressure was going up. He now was on blood pressure medications, was just constantly tired, worn out, and really couldn't get out and do his gardening like he enjoyed, and was even having a little trouble just being active with his grandkids. So, like we do with every client, we brought him in, connected with him, found out what his concerns were, and we got him tested. Harry had like 42 food allergies, had some infections in a stool test that we ran, and cardiometabolically, he was literally a heart attack waiting to happen and fatty liver. Some of you guys may be able to relate to that. And oftentimes in our medical system, they don't know what to do other than just throw pills at you guys. So we want to bring a different perspective. And so we showed Harry his food list. Now you have to understand, he loved to garden. He loved to garden and he loved his vegetables. For years, he was bringing me stuff from his garden and I loved it. But then guess what? When I got tested, I was allergic to Harry's green peppers and carrots and potatoes. And then when Harry got tested, he found out that almost all of that stuff that he was growing organically was making him sick, was inflaming him. And as we began to show him what to do, teach him how to apply these principles over the course of 2 years, Harry lost about 50 pounds, got off all of his blood pressure medications, and continues to make progress and is enjoying the journey. Trust me, you remember that picture in the beginning where we had the ups and downs? We're all like it. We all have that little piece of sassiness in us where we think, well, I've done good enough for now. I can probably go back and start implementing these things. See, that's what happens when you have the mindset of I just want to lose weight. I'm not saying it won't happen when you make the shift and you want a long-term lifestyle change, but when you're just concerned about the weight, you're going to make the exceptions and cheat a lot easier. And trust me, you can ask Harry today. He's paid the price for being sassy, all right? But it happened enough that he was enough. Enough was enough. He said, no more am I going to do that, because he felt what it was like to do the right thing for a long period of time and began to experience what restoration was like. That's what we're meant for. And so our goals for today are these 3 things. I want to help you create a new approach to weight loss. We're going to examine some of the tools and tests that are available so that we can properly assess your roadblocks and understand then how to develop a plan of success for you. All right, doesn't seem like a whole lot, but there's a lot there. Ultimately, again, I know we're talking about weight loss, but these roadblocks show up in different fashions for you guys. For some, it may be weight gain. For others, it may be weight loss. You're too skinny. Some of these roadblocks may create fertility issues, chronic migraines, fibromyalgia, whatever the case may be. What I want us to get away from is the focus on the condition. We need to stop identifying and saying that's what we are. What we need to focus on is restoration, and that the body, when the roadblocks are removed, it's a direct path back to restoration and normal function. And what does that require? Thinking differently, you guys. We can no longer continue to think the way we've always thought. Just take medical practice, for instance. How long have we been following that model? How long have we continued to take drugs and surgeries and all the chemistry in the world? How are we doing for infertility, for cancer, for diabetes and heart disease? It's not getting any worse, and we continue to throw millions and trillions of dollars at it with still no change. And so that's why the Wellness Way is doing everything we can to begin to change that process, not only here in America, but over the whole world. So I told you we were going to do some myth busting, and it's not just us. This is well-researched, well-documented stuff that's been out there for a long time, you guys, but yet the misinformation continues to be put out there. Who here has heard whatever calories you put in, you got to burn and get out? Sound familiar? Okay, well, this myth was busted a long time ago. Back in World War II, they did this study, all right? There's a lot that we have now today where researchers were already in the mix of trying to figure some things out when it came to our health. And there was a big battle between sugar and fats. That's really what they were trying to do. Ansel Keys was pretty instrumental in setting the tone and trajectory for how people in the medical field viewed fats going forward. Now, the crazy thing is the research was showing that sugar was really the culprit. And so they did this, will you starve that they be better fed? So obviously rations and things were going on during the war. And here's what they found. They took 36 conscientious objectors, people who just were for what they were doing, but just did not want to carry a weapon. So they did the research on them. They took them from a 3,200 calorie diet down to just over 1,500. And then they worked them just as hard as what they were doing before. And certainly you can lose weight this way, you guys, but it was not healthy at all. What they found was a 21% reduction in strength. Men felt old and constantly tired. Who here's watched somebody lose weight in maybe an unhealthy way and they just looked haggard after it was all done? You'd be like, put the weight back on, please. You just look like you were a little more alive. I mean, everything changed for them. Physiologically, their heart rates were slowing down way too low. Metabolism slowed to conserve energy and calories. Their bowel movements dropped immensely. Blood pressure and blood volume changed. So, I mean, all these things really were not creating normal function. So they did that, and then they hit them on this diet of like 4,000 or more calories to obviously try and get them back. So you guys can lose weight, or there's a better way to do it. All right. And the unfortunate part is it's still being spewed today, calories in, calories out, straight from the Mayo Clinic. You know, your weight is a balancing act, and calories are a part of the equation. Weight loss comes down to burning more calories than you take in. That's not true. But then they say, but don't forget, the bottom line, the key to successful weight loss is commitment to making changes in your diet and exercise. I will give them that. It is a commitment to making changes in your diet and your lifestyle. Okay? And ultimately, as we get a little further down, I'll kind of speak into this whole sugar and fat thing, because it's pretty scary. Even way back when, there was a lot of dirty things going on behind the scenes in order to project a different image going forward. And so again, I know I don't, tonight's about weight loss, but I don't want us to get stuck on that. I want us to get focused on restoration and normal function and health. And so we have to identify roadblocks. So tonight, again, I'm giving you a ton of information in a short period of time. So if I'm going fast, trust me, you're going to get it again and get to watch it one more time after we're done. But we're going to talk about the roadblock of stress, inflammation, hormone deficiency and balance, the immune system, and lifestyle. Anyone here been stressed in the last year? Yeah, I think you guys can all relate. 2020 was probably one of the toughest years most of us have been through. There's a lot of good things that came out of it as well. So I don't want to just put all that negativity on it. But I think we all can agree stress is definitely a physical and psychological stimulus that can produce mental and physiological reactions that may lead to illness. Right, ladies? I think this is the one that hits you guys the most. Technically speaking, stress is a disruption to our normal well-being. Okay, so that's why we really have to look at the roadblocks here. Maybe you have a stress at work. Maybe you have a relational stress. Maybe you have a sick parent, a sick child, a sick spouse. All of those things in different forms become very stressful and interrupt and disrupt homeostasis. So ladies, when you feel like this, you crave a nice healthy salad. Am I right? No, of course not. You want a big bar of chocolate. And guys, you guys feel stressed. It happens. You want to take care of your family. You want to provide. Maybe things at work aren't going the best. And when you guys are stressed, you may not necessarily crave chocolate like the women, but you could go for a big quarter pounder, a big soda, a big candy bar. We're all going to deal with it differently. But don't you find it kind of strange that stress spelled backwards is desserts? Yeah, we've all been there. So here's what's cool. We're talking about roadblocks. How can you test? Do you guys know that you can test for some of these roadblocks? Almost all of them. So this is a hormone panel that's run through a Dutch test. It's one of the many that we do. But if you really want to see how stress is affecting your adrenal health, this is one of the tests we would run. And we can see whether or not an adrenal gland is functioning or at high levels of cortisol. Pretty cool. You can also check these roadblocks via blood. We can see maybe how is your blood sugar responding? How's your A1C responding? Stress can totally influence your A1C. You guys who are online and here, are you familiar at all with A1C? Probably the best way I can describe A1C, it is your #1 aging marker. If you want to see if you're in the category of normal aging versus accelerated aging, this is one of the best ways to look at it. It's well documented, well researched, called advanced glycation end products. They're byproducts of what our body does if we eat a lot of carbs, we eat a lot of processed foods. Under a lot of stress, these end products actually speed up and accelerate aging. They cause your tissue to repel water. Your tissue dries out and cracks. Anyone ever experienced a herniated disc, neck or back? Yeah, I have. I had it in my 30s and it sucked. But my diet was substantially different in my 30s. I literally feel 10 times, if not 20 times better in my late 40s now than I did in my early 30s because I changed how I was aging. And a lot of it had to do with inflammation, stress, and diet. So food and sugar are not the only reason you have an influence on your A1C numbers. So those are ways we can look at stress. We can look at how the liver is functioning. That's another aspect of stress. Now, if anyone's ever watched any of our videos, you'll know we probably talk about inflammation more than anything. Because we know all the research shows that chronic inflammation is one of the leading causes to all conditions and diseases. So doesn't it make sense that we should probably test a lot of different ways in which our bodies are stressed inflammatory-wise? So we can do that with blood. We look at things like C-reactive protein, homocysteine, cortisol levels. You can look in the blood as well. But then One of the biggest ways we look at it as chiropractors are our 3 T's. And I bet some of you online and here can tell me those 3 T's: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. So from a traumatic standpoint, that's pretty much how I practiced for the first 16 years in my practice, was only adjusting, dealing with spinal trauma. And how do you test? You got to look at x-rays, look at MRI, sometimes CT scans. So it gives us a lot of information of how your spine is aging and what we can do to begin correcting some of those bad curves, loss of disc space. And if we see a lot of degenerative change, those are clues that you're aging faster than you should be. We can test inflammation from a toxicity standpoint for food allergies. That gives us information. We can look at the kind of water you're drinking. Is it filtered? Are you eating organic or non-organic foods? And then obviously we've talked already about stress and thoughts. There are, ways to look at like neurotransmitters and things like that to see how your gut and brain are working. So those are ways in which we begin to test those roadblocks of inflammation. Hormone deficiency and imbalance. Do you think that has anything to do with weight gain? Nah. Of course, male or female, if there's an imbalance in your hormones, that's going to throw off some things. But hormones don't just go out of balance. There's other precipitating factors that have to occur first, and that's usually a nerve system issue and or an immune system response. Hormones are never a primary problem. They're always a secondary or tertiary response to the environment we're creating. So let's take a look at this. I hope you guys online can see this. This is basically a picture of your liver and all the pathways of hormone conversion. Did you guys hear me? I didn't say how to remove toxins, even though that's what your liver does to some degree, but a big portion of your liver is going to convert many of those sex hormones. All right? Excuse me, a little tickle on my nose. Now, if you can see it, what's up here in the left-hand corner? Yeah, cholesterol. Cholesterol is the basis for every single sex hormone we create in our body or produce in our body. Now, really follow me on this, okay? Who here has ever heard of cholesterol? Hopefully today you guys have heard of that. Now, answer me this. Is cholesterol good or bad? It's neither. It's necessary. All right? I told you guys, I encouraged us to think differently tonight. All right? Since when did your liver make bad things for your heart? So see, cholesterol is not good or bad. It's necessary. So follow me on this. If cholesterol is the basis to making every single sex steroid hormone in our bodies, who can think of a drug that interferes with this pathway right there? I bet you guys can. Used to be one of the #1 drugs sold in the country, and that was a statin drug called Lipitor. Statins are designed to inhibit a pathway or an enzyme pathway where you can no longer make cholesterol like the liver is supposed to. So what do you think would happen, you guys, if you block that pathway? What's going to happen to your hormones? What's going to happen to your ability to have a stress response? You're right. It's going to inhibit the ability to make normal hormones. Did you guys also know that cholesterol will go up if you have an inflammatory response? Cholesterol will fluctuate up to 50 points in a day because of homeostasis. Nothing is static in our bodies. So remember, a blood draw or anything that we test is just a moment in time. That's why we don't always just go, do you fit in the lab ranges or not? It's how well is your body adapting to the stressors that we're putting around. So it's key that we keep things like the liver healthy so that hormones will be able to convert. Now, guys, we're kind of funny. When our hormones get off, we don't always know something's off right away. Particularly females, if you're menstruating, you guys kind of know when something's not right. Yep. So unfortunately, guys, we don't always want to admit something's wrong. And there can be something terribly wrong, but we see a mirror and we're like, yeah, we got it. We still got it, but in all reality, sometimes we don't. I'm not sure if the doctor said I'm obese or if he said I'm a beast. Most of us would like to say we're still beast mode, but depends on how you're taking care of your hormones. And today we live in a very estrogen dominant society. I mean, all across the board. Agree or disagree? All right. I mean, I didn't even think about this till I was at Dr. Flynn's last hormone seminar. And honestly, because of what estrogen does, you know, you can see it in women. I mean, even breast size has changed over the last 15, 20 years. Girls are developing earlier than ever. They're starting their periods, you know, I haven't seen them in here yet, but I know other wellness weight clinics have had 6, 7, 8-year-old females menstruating, already developing breast buds. We've got males more delayed puberty and then developing into more female characteristics because we're so estrogen dominant. It's in our food. It's in the sugars that we're eating. There's this conversion of testosterone to estrogen. So many ways that we're exposed to this estrogen dominance. And unfortunately, you know, breast cancer is at an all-time high for men right now. So it's not just women that deal with this. But wait, there's more. Did you know you can test for that? Yeah, the Dutch test, again, lets us see how the liver is metabolizing all these different estrogens. Who here has had all of their hormones completely tested? Hardly anyone ever raises their hand because most of them have only had their blood work done. They've never had their urine part looked at, which is in the liver, we see more estrogen hormones made and converted, which give us insight into the possibility of what's your chances of breast cancer, uterine cancer. How's your body methylating? Some of you ladies are probably pretty familiar with MTHFR. We can get a little insight into what that's doing in your body with this test. Thyroid, same thing. Who here has completely had that checked? Not many. And if you've had your thyroid checked and you're on a medication, did your doctor check and see if your adrenals were sufficient? Were they functioning? Because if you look at like levothyroxine, for instance, one of the contraindications to that medication is if you have insufficiency in your adrenal glands, you shouldn't be taking the drug. I think maybe in my 4.5 years of looking into this or so, one person has said, yeah, they looked and I was okay. But I still question, I don't think it was completely looked at. We can look at metabolic hormones. So it's not just male-female hormones. We have hormones that regulate our sugar, that regulate, you know, whether our gallbladder is going to release bile, thirst, hunger, all those things. They're very important that we look at a lot of those factors. Because one of the biggest things that are leading to many of our disease conditions today is this right here, insulin resistance. Alzheimer's. Neurodegenerative diseases are on the rise, you guys. Dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and much of the research is pointing to insulin resistance. They're even calling it type 3 diabetes. So we have to, again, start thinking differently. What we've been doing over the last 50 years is not working at making healthier people. We're managing way more disease and we're making people sicker and sicker by only addressing the symptoms. So it's important that, again, removing roadblocks. We got to make sure the liver is working at its best. We do a pretty extensive detox at the right time for each patient. It's not just a blanket thing that we do because everybody's different. So you can't just go to the store and go, hey, I'm going to do a detox. It can be a very detrimental thing if you don't really know what you're doing and prepare the body ahead of time to go through what, you know, typically it'll be a month within our system here. Number 4, let's look at the immune system. Who here has maybe thought about their immune system a little bit differently over the last year? I know we have. You know, we even know how to test that. That's one of our most popular tests that we do in here. It's a detailed CD4, CD8 panel that we can see how your first responders are working, how your B cells and T cells, all those cancer killers are working. If you want to know if you're having a good immune response, doesn't it make sense that you would want to test that? And that plays a big role in how your body's functioning and whether you're going to have the ability to lose weight. Again, I don't want that to be the focus, but if you have a focus and have a normal, healthy body, guess what the side effect is? You're either going to lose weight or gain weight and be in a place that's going to be ideal for you. So our food test, we test the IgG response to those antigens. So antigen meaning your body is now seeing these foods as a foreign thing. So there is an immune response to that. So every time you encounter these foods and your body hasn't broken down the proteins appropriately, there's an inflammatory response. And IgG is the most popular. When you read the immunology books, there is a lot of activity in our immune system there. They're really, I would call them the silent killer, because not a lot of people feel that they have them. And unfortunately, everyone wants to associate a stomach ache or some kind of zit or diarrhea, whatever. There's a feeling associated with every food allergy, and there just isn't. Again, I had 31, and I would have put money that I only had 3 or 4, because I felt a lot of gas when I ate peanut butter. I got a stomach ache every time I had a salad, and I pretty much, what little beer I was drinking, I gave it up, because I'd have one and the next day I felt like I had 6. So I knew something was up there, but turns out I had 31 foods. Just like this person, they had 29. But when you start applying the principles, figuring out the roadblocks, and supporting with supplements and things along the way as necessary, guess what? You can change that. You can change your immune response. Now they only have 8. I only have 11 now, thankfully. 31 kind of sucked. But look at what Fancy Nancy did, okay? In 2017, she joined the Wellness Way up in Green Bay. And almost 2 years later, not quite 2 years, down 60 pounds. I mean, this was one of my most favorite transformative stories, watching Nancy go from the Skittle Queen. Like, she loved her Skittles, but she had to make some changes. And you guys can see, unbelievable transformation for this young lady. Even the young kids. This is probably my biggest motivation for even giving this talk or changing in our practice to this, because I'm so saddened to see how many kids struggle with obesity today. I mean, look around, you guys. Go to Walmart, go to Hy-Vee's, Aldi. I mean, you never heard of diabetes more than you do today. And it used to be called adult onset diabetes. Now they've got children, they've got juvenile onset. It's changing massively, and it leads to some bad stuff. And we can all go back to lifestyle and food. And so even the kids can do this, you guys. I've seen kids follow this a lot better than some of the adults, and I've seen these kids suck down some of these fantastic herbs a lot better than some of you adults. So we can further evaluate the immune system in a stool test. So there isn't just one thing, roadblock, that we look at. There's multiple roadblocks and multiple ways to look at different systems. So a stool test will show us how your immune system is responding to protect that mucous membrane. We all have membranes. Your nose, your eyes, your mouth, the lungs, your skin. These are all membranes that create a layer of protection that communicate to the immune system. So think about how you could be influencing your body and even your weight by rubbing all these chemicals on your body every time you go into a store right now. Think about what you're doing to influence your barriers. Think about the over-the-counter medications you take to not be stuffy anymore, right? That influences a barrier. All of those things. You just want to start second guessing the stuff that you put in your body. There's a barrier that's affected because the gut health is not right. And lifestyle. Everyone's favorite. This is the one that probably bucks the system the most, because when you start talking about food and what needs to be avoided, they know lifestyle changes are needing to happen. And again, This isn't like just some chiropractic voodoo, you guys. Like this is well researched in medical journals. Look it up on PubMed. They all talk about lifestyle. Read the drugs and all the side effects, and they go, but still, lifestyle changes, diet, and exercise are what really matter. But you got to take the pill just in case. I mean, they all admit it, but it really boils down to the fact that many of us are just too lazy. We don't want to do what's hard. We don't want to do what's necessary to enjoy what we were created to be, and that's healthy. We really were. So many of you guys tonight, now don't look at this and think, oh my gosh, we come to a fork in the road, he's getting ready to quit. Well, I got a few more slides. But right now, I want you to put a stake in the ground and like start making a decision tonight that I'm going to make a change for the better, for the long haul. Because every day we come across a fork in the road. Trust me, I want to eat a donut every day. Don't I, James? Like I would want to go eat a wheat donut every day, but it's not going to be good for me. I'm not going to be able to keep this figure if I do that. And that's important to me. That's the level at which I want to live. And let's see, what else do I love? I love Skittles. I would eat Skittles every day if it didn't affect me. I would eat sourdough bread, probably 2 loaves a day if it wasn't that big of a deal. But I choose most of the time to take that path, that fork in the road, because I know where this leads. This leads to a little more chubby Jeremy, pain in the shoulder and wrist, achy when I wake up, and not able to do at the level I'm doing right now. And you guys can relate. Everybody would love to perform better at all kinds of different levels. But it means you got to put a stake in the ground and make a decision and choose the right thing. But you know what, you guys? Unfortunately, we were set up to fail a long time ago. Any of you guys know what this is? The old food pyramid. Now, we have a saying in the Wellness Way is if you follow and eat like the food pyramid, you're going to look like the pyramid. It's true. This literally, I wouldn't call it the food pyramid. I'd call it the cancer pyramid. Because if you follow these recommendations, you're pretty much eating your way to cancer. It's ridiculous the amount of carbs and pastas and sugar they're having you eat. It's just not right. Like I said, it was set up to fail. So earlier I alluded to some of this research about sugar and fats. Ansel Keys was a big part of that. This Dr. Mark Hegstead. They really were trying to figure out, what was the deal with heart disease. And they really weren't seeing that fat was the cause like they were hoping. They really, in their research, found that sugar was the culprit, but they didn't want to do that. So there were some backdoor deals. They actually paid the Harvard scientists $48,000 to kind of mess with the research. And to make it easy so that you understand what's going on, this is what they did. They literally, researchers who used fats and oils supplied by Procter & Gamble, still a drug company today, and milk and ice cream supplied by the Hood Milk Company, they developed something that would come to be known as the Hegstead equation, which predicts the relationship between fats in the diet and serum cholesterol. So that's what they were trying to, again, prove, that fats ruin and make cholesterol go high and cholesterol is bad, which we know that's not true. It's necessary. They tested these fats and oils by incorporating them into waffles, muffins, cakes, cookies, pie crust, biscuits, salad dressings, spreads, and bread. Hello, sugar. The rationale behind their experiment was to contradict what they had already looked at with Ansel Keys. So basically, they still said fat was the problem, not sugar. Only they attached all of that to a sugar. So let's look forward now. What's happened since then as we've followed this food pyramid for a long time? So what you're going to see here, and I'm going to go through a lot of slides because you're going to see this really quick, just like a disease might spread. These were the obesity trends in 1985. All right. The highest percentage then was 10 to 14%. So we can see some of these southeastern states were in, of course, Wisconsin, beer and cheese and bread. But watch this, you guys. Watch the trends as we go 1986, 87, 88. Look at how the blue, dark blue, is getting more rampant. 92. Now we're up into 15 to almost 20% obesity. Look at this. This is all following the food pyramid all the way up to 2010. Look at how many states are greater than 30% obese. 25 to 29. Now here's where it gets scary, you guys. The next slide I'm going to show you is the cancer rates. Look at how it follows almost the same patterns. Now there are other factors involved for sure, not just diet, but there's also a lot of the similar areas river-wise that you'll find glyphosate and Roundup. So again, we have to start thinking differently because we can't just focus on losing weight. Because trust me, a lot of you guys have been trying to lose weight by smoking those things, by eating Skittles, and just trying to avoid calories. So just because you lose weight does not mean that equates to normal health and function. But people honestly believed at one point that Marlboro Lights were actually healthier than Marlboro Reds. And they market things to make them look like they're healthy, you know. Then you got to read the fine print. It's not just popcorn and white cheddar cheese. We've got vegetable oil, canola oil, all these just rancid, bad vegetable oils. Newman's, even organic, looks good. And you think, oh, it's just olive oil. But guess what? It's vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil. You got to read the labels. There's all kinds of junk hidden in this stuff. And you guys, processed food, it's an industry. It's a money-making industry. $2 trillion industry a year. They don't care about your health. They really don't. All they care is what can we put in this to make them bite one more time and buy more. That's why we're so addicted to sugar. So all these things right here are all stuff that produces inflammation, creates interruption to homeostasis, all kinds of stress and inflammation. Well documented. And then we have misdirection. I used to use this slide on my inflammation talk. This is like recommended food for diabetics. Like the American Diabetic Association literally puts this on their list as something good for a diabetic to eat. Well, pretty much everything on there is a sugar. You've got high fructose corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, like 3 times. I mean, all of that is that. If that's supposed to be what a diabetic should eat, come on, we can do better than this. I can say right here, years ago, my wife and I, we fell victim to this. Were you familiar at all with EAS? I forget what the book was, but this crap is loaded full of soy. I will put money, even my wife predicted, I think that's what wrecked her years ago. We didn't know any better then. That's why it's our mission now to get this message out. The stuff that's out there, you have to read the labels. Anything with soy, you guys, please, if you walk away with one thing tonight, stop eating any of those soy-based proteins. Again, remember we talked about an estrogen-dominant society. That's where it's coming from. I mean, those things, look at soy protein nuggets, corn syrup, palm kernel oil, milk fat. I mean, it's just bleh. Again, trust me, I would totally eat a Snickers right now. It really satisfies, but not there. So what do we eat? We get that question all the time, don't we? So if I can't have these foods in red, you said I can't have bread, I can't have eggs. Like what's there to eat, Doc? A lot of stuff. You got to broaden your horizons a little bit. So real food. Avoid the food allergies. Avoid the processed foods. Get those lean proteins, lots of collagen. I mean, we're big advocates of bone broth, good sources of collagen and all those minerals in there. And work out. You know, it doesn't have to be like bulk up city, but know how to work out for your body. And sometimes we're not always the right people for that. We have connections and people that we work with. If we know you need more and you want to go deeper into that, trust me, Columbia's got a great community of people who know how to work out appropriately. And so we've partnered with a lot of these people. So, you know, there's a lot that we can do here, but we also know we have limitations, and we're going to make sure you get what you need going forward. So here's when we're trying to really get to the cause. Obviously, we're talking about getting rid of roadblocks. Let's further understand what's being recommended. This is why we're constantly going against the grain and going uphill. Currently, the USDA says a healthy diet should consist of 65% carbs, 18% protein, and 19% fat. Remember the food pyramid? It's the cancer pyramid. You cannot eat that many carbs, you guys, and actually function right. Do you see why people are accelerating and aging so fast? Why degenerative disease is so rampant? I mean, who here has looked and seen a 30-year-old, and some 30-year-olds look like they're 50 or 60, and I've seen some 30-year-olds that look like they're teenagers still. So if getting older was the reason that we wore out, shouldn't everybody be aging at the same pace? No way. Lifestyle has everything to do with it. Diet has everything to do with it. Look at this, you guys. Your brain composition, 61% fat. Who here remembers up in the left-hand corner of that liver chart, what fat did we talk about? Cholesterol. That's right. Your brain is made up of a ton of cholesterol. So let's go back. If we take a statin drug that blocks the production of cholesterol, what do you think is going to happen to our brain, you guys? What do you think your risk of neurodegenerative diseases might be? Probably going to go up because, again, cholesterol is not good or bad. It's necessary. And at some point, I probably need to do a cardiovascular wellness way approach. So we can go into a little more detail to help you guys understand HDLs, LDLs, all the little particles and all that fun stuff. 4% carbohydrates, 35% protein, body composition, 35% fat, 45% protein, minerals, vitamins, carbs, okay? Nowhere is it even close to what's being recommended. But here's what makes sense. We need about 55% fat, 35% protein, and 10% carbohydrates. And some of you are probably wondering, well, what about fasting, Doc? Well, fasting can be good for some people. Fasting can be very detrimental for others. Guys, you're going to get away with this a lot more than women. And I definitely wouldn't just blank, you know, probably I could say it for men. You could blanket, you know, fasting is going to be fine for men. It's not going to mess with your hormones like it will females. And here's why. Again, remember the Dutch test? So it's important to know the health of your adrenals and really where your blood sugar and insulin and A1C numbers are at, because you could be creating more harm than good as a female trying to fast. So right now we can see massively stressed, free cortisol levels are up, metabolized cortisol levels are up. If you try fasting someone like this, as they eliminate sugar from their diet, the natural response is cortisol release to put sugar in there to maintain that. Guess what? You're going to stress out the adrenals more when you fast that way. This way, you got to be careful, because if you were to fast, it wouldn't so much stress out the adrenals, but you got to have to feed the carbs a little bit because you not have enough of an adrenal response or cortisol response to even really handle the fast. This one probably would be all right. So it's very important, you guys, to be appropriately tested so that we can make decisions that best fit your situation to lose weight or to get healthier. That's right, get healthier. And as a side effect, the weight will typically come off. Stay with me, you guys. We're almost done. All right. Some good stuff in here. This was kind of my feeling of health when it happened. I would look at myself and go, hey, I'm pretty fit. I must therefore be healthy, right? Well, think again, because I bet all of you guys can come up with One person that comes to mind when we think fit and healthy, and then heart attack. Old Bob from The Biggest Loser, a couple of years back, almost died of a heart attack because he had the Widowmaker. It was blocked up like crazy in there. The dude was ripped. How in the world could a guy, I think he was like late 50s when he had that heart attack. I mean, how would a guy be so fit and have a Widowmaker heart attack like that? Because fit does not equate to healthy. That level of inflammatory response by all that exercising probably created a lot of oxidation to his body. Did he ever have inflammation markers tested? Maybe he was allergic to oatmeal. The dude says right here, I eat oatmeal for breakfast every day. It fills me up, so I'm not tempted by holiday treats. What do you do to avoid temptation? James has seen it. Jesse's seen it. I've seen it. I have people that are allergic to oats. Oh, but doc, oats lower my cholesterol. Who said it needed to go down? Maybe it's responding to inflammation because you keep eating oats. And if you take a statin drug, but keep eating oats, what's going to happen? So fit does not mean healthy. But hey, guess what? Now Bob recruits for the drug companies. Now, because his body made a mistake, he's got to take a drug so that he can thin his blood. You guys sense the sarcasm, right? Body never makes a mistake. It always responds to the environment we create for it. So yes, did the medical doctors save Bob's life? Heck yeah. Don't call, the chiropractor to do that. Call the fire department. Those drugs saved his life. Now, are those drugs good for him? No. Who said so? The drug companies. Read the small print. They're not good. That's like just sitting there with a fire hose, spraying him down, rotting everything. Again, I didn't ask if the drug companies were trying to save his life or make him healthy. They weren't trying to make him healthy. They were saved his life. I'll get that right. So now he says, I recently had a heart attack, but I am not a victim. I'm a survivor. I'm making healthier choices, and I'm taking Brilinta. Drugs are amazing because they do what? They interrupt homeostasis. In order for a drug to save a life and be fast acting, you have to interrupt the normal process. So by design or by definition, you interrupt homeostasis, guess what? You are in a state of disease. So you can't take a drug to thin your blood and say, I'm making healthy decision now or healthier choices. It doesn't happen that way. So more on lifestyle choices. True or true? Men and women cannot work out the same. True. Very different. So women, if you're working out every day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks out of the month, you're going to make yourself sick, massively sick, if you are a menstruating female. Now men, again, Dr. James and Jesse and I, we're not the fitness gurus. We know people that can help you in this, but you want to be constantly varied in your movement. You want to do functional things, how you move in real life, high intensity. You don't have to go for the hour every day. Hit 15 to 20 minutes, vary it up a little bit. Females, week 1 of menstruation, week 3, those are the days, yoga, light walks, mentally chill, treat yourself right. Husbands, that's when you need to be extra nice to your women. Pamper them. Week 2 and 4, that's when you can go crush it. That's when your hormones are prepped and ready for you to go at it. Okay? There's a lot more we can get into in there, but those are just some things I want you to be aware of as you're trying to lose weight, but change the focus to being healthy. We have to take all those factors into consideration. It's simple, right? It's not always easy. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So some of you might wonder, why do I do what I do? Well, I've watched for years, literally people come in crippled, hobbled, and I hate it. I know we can do better. As an individual, you have the ability to live a better life. So why do I do what I do? Because I want to experience everything that's possible for me to experience. Do I only do it for my family? Nah. That's where I think we get messed up. You shouldn't be wanting to be healthy for everybody else. You should want it for yourself because you're worth it. You're capable of doing more. And sure, do I want to be healthy because I want to be with my wife for a long, long time? You bet. Do I want to be healthy because I want to see my kids grow up and maybe get married and have grandbabies? Heck yeah. So I have a lot of reasons that I do what I do. But a lot of it's because of you too. I see the potential that each of you have, and I see many of you wasting it, not because you want to on purpose all the time, but because we've been given so much baloney over the years. So I want to share a video clip with you that was very impactful to me, and I hope that it will be to you. Oh, it worked earlier. Hold on. Oh yeah. Yep. I'll just punch it. Now, I have come to the I'll let it lower a little bit here. Crossroads in my life. Okay, give me 1 second. We'll let it load for a little bit. Maybe I'll just start it over here. Now, I have come to the crossroads in my life. I always knew what the right path was. Without exception, I knew, but I never took it. You know why? It was too damn hard. All right. So yeah, a lot of us know the path. We talked about that fork in the road. And I want to reiterate tonight. Put a stake in the ground. Make tonight the night you do something different for the long haul. Not just to change your behavior for a short outcome, but really, I hope tonight was challenging to you. I hope we got you to think a little differently and really ask yourself, why? Why do I want this for me? Maybe this is affecting your relationship. Maybe this is affecting your ability to do work. Maybe this is affecting you to fulfill a dream you've always had. I want to present this opportunity for you tonight because I know personally, I don't want to look back in life and have regrets because I didn't choose to do something hard. Anything that's worth doing should be hard because it makes it worthwhile. So we've identified all those reasons that we can find roadblocks that might be interfering with your ability to really, move forward by putting that stake in the ground. Do something maybe you've never done before and say, tonight's going to be different. Tonight, I want to take advantage of doing the right thing and knowing how to get healthier, not be focused on losing weight. So every time we do this, I like to give people the opportunity to, again, put a stake in the ground and say, I'm going to do something different for me because I'm worth it. So I'm going to give you two opportunities. One, if you're really familiar with who we are as a company, the Wellness Way, and you already know, like, hey, we know we want to get tested. We know we want to move forward and do that. The best option and next step for you is to, especially if you're online, just say, I'm in. And the deal is for $99 instead of our initial fee of $295, I'm going to do it for $99. And Dr. James or Dr. Jesse, all three of us, whoever you feel more comfortable with, we're all capable of locating those roadblocks for you. And what you'll get with that $99 is we'll review all your past tests that you've had from somewhere else. We're going to evaluate your spine. We'll do an abdominal exam. We'll kind of look at the whole body. We'll make some recommendations for x-rays because we like to see and test if you're aging appropriately. We'll look over an FAQ questionnaire that we'll send to you ahead of time. Goes through in great detail of all of your systems, so we're able to kind of see and develop a plan ahead of time. And with that, we'll give you your first chiropractic adjustment, And then we'll sit down and make those recommendations on what tests we think we need in the beginning to discover those roadblocks. So again, what normally is $295 on our initial visit, we're going to offer that to you guys tonight for $99. And all you have to do tonight is say, I'm in. And tomorrow our staff will call and reach out to you. We can take credit card, get the $99, and then we'll set you up to have that first appointment and begin that process of putting your stake in the ground and changing your life. Trust me, we've seen lots of transformations in here. I love watching them every day. Maybe you're on the fence and you're not quite sure. Maybe it's the first time you've heard of the Wellness Way tonight. So my opportunity for you now is, I think Dr. James is going to put a link in there. And if you just want to do a discovery call, we offer a 10-minute discovery call, or you can come in person and we'll just, at no charge, sit down, listen to your case a little bit and see if what we have for you is a good fit. More than anything, that's what we want. We want this to be a good fit for you, where you're going to feel like you're going to succeed and be in a culture that you can move forward and be successful. So we'll keep this on for a little bit because I want to give you guys again an opportunity to respond. Again, if you're ready to move forward and find out what tests are needed to see where your roadblocks are, again, that's $99. You can just type I'm in, and our staff will reach out to you tomorrow and get that set up right away. And again, you can follow the link to set up your discovery call online. So again, Dr. Jeremy Maxwell with the Wellness Way. Between Dr. Jesse and Dr. James and I, we have a combined 30 years clinical experience. So trust me, when you come here, you're not only getting our 30-year experience, but we reach out on a regular basis to all the Wellness Way doctors across the United States. So it's a team effort, and it's all about you guys. I hope you learned a lot tonight. Be on the watch on your emails so you'll get the video tomorrow, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good evening.